Hi, are you an author in the middle of self-publishing your next book? Somewhere along the process, you've probably heard about creating an audiobook. You've been encouraged to make an audiobook. You know friends who've made the investment in creating an audiobook, but you can't bring yourself to get started because getting into the technical weeds just seems too daunting. But what if we could take that all away? What if we could remove 90% of the technical barriers so all you would have to do is show up to the microphone and record? Or maybe you don't want to record your own audiobook. That's totally fine too. We have an experienced team of professional narrators that would love to audition for your audiobook. Our Done For You service guarantees that you will have a professionally produced audiobook ready for commercial release. If you're ready to get started today, please click the link below and schedule a free call. We can't wait to hear from you and to get started on your project.
Hello and happy Easter to everybody out there. Welcome to another episode of Shine with Curiosity and Encouragement podcast. I am author Stephen Uriest, author of Pit Series books. With me, as always, is my friend, my guardian angel, my publisher, Susan Gabriel. Hi, Susan. How you doing today? Happy Easter to you.
Hi, I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Before we go any further on anything, Um, you guys may have noticed we had a sponsor right before we started talking here. Susan, why don't you tell everybody about our sponsor there that we have?
Yeah, Stephen is great. He helped me with my audiobook, and he's so professional, and everything he says is absolutely true. They just hold your hand and walk you all the way through the process, and you just end up with a wonderful audiobook in the end.
Audiobooks are definitely necessary nowadays. Um,
Yeah.
with technology going where it is, a lot of times it's just easier to have an audiobook that you can play wherever, whenever, and just listen in. And of course, as always, we are sponsored by Soul Sunshine. Be sure to visit us at soulsunshine.com. Well, today is Easter. And Easter is incredibly important. If you are a Christian and you are believe in God and Jesus, then Easter is the Super Bowl of all holidays. It is the reason for the season, taking one from Christmas there, but um, Jesus died and rose from the dead for our sins. So he didn't exactly live, the godly life. There are a lot of instances in salvation and redemption. When it comes to redemption and salvation and Easter, we're kind of given a fresh start on things. And today we have somebody who has gone through traumas and past and things that a lot of us wouldn't be able to endure to overcome and actually, you know, have some salvation and be saved. Um, Before I bring him to the stage, Susan, did you want to have anything to add to that about the Easter today?
I am looking forward to hearing our guest today and learning more about him apparently he's an overcomer.
Yes.
He's definitely gone through a lot apparently in his life, and I'm really interested to hear about it. I did want to say one thing though, that I did take 2 hours out of my life today to watch a movie with my husband. We sat down and watched a movie called Ordinary Angels. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's just a super, super wonderful movie.
And what was it on? Was it on Netflix or Hulu or?
Yeah, I don't know. My husband, he has a lot of different places that he goes and signs up and he gets movies, and I just sit back and enjoy it.
Whatever network it's on. Hopefully
Yeah,
they'll
I
hear
don't
us and
care.
they'll sponsor us one day. Huh?
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah, they get a plug.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's bring our special guest onto the stage. Scott. Scott, how are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
You're certainly very welcome. Happy Easter to you. Um,
Happy Easter.
you you were referred over to us because of your story, and Man, after listening to it and just, feeling it and empathetic of everything, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, definitely. I do have a story, and I've been wanting to tell it for a while. Um, just been, trying to get better mentally, better physically now, so that's a good thing. But I'm still young. I'm 24. I work a lot. No kids. Just spend time with my family. It's just really been a process, trying to get back on my feet and you know get comfortable sharing my past and stuff because I'm not proud of it, but your past is what makes you who you are, and as long as you learn from it, that's all that matters.
Absolutely. When you look at everything, it leads everything you've done, everything you've seen, everything you've experienced has led you up to this moment right here. And everything you're going to do leads you up to further moments. So the fact that you're here and the fact that you've overcome a lot of trauma and just instances that would break a lot of people, it's very happy to see that you're being positive about things and you're actually moving forward and doing great things. Growing up, you grew up in the Midwest. You moved a lot.
Yes. Yeah, when I was young, we used to move around a lot. Now I'm on my own, so that's not really a big problem. But I've definitely have seen my fair share of different places, environments. How to adapt quickly to a lot of new places, make new friends. But it was hard, but at the same time, it's a good thing because you learn to adapt in different environments and around different people. So it's definitely not a bad thing, but still having solid foundation to build off of is always a plus.
Well, one of the tragedies that I heard is that, and that you and I talked about, is that you grew up around addiction, and growing up around
Most
addiction
definitely.
is difficult to deal with. I mean, you see so many instances where addiction can destroy a family or destroy a person, and you went through
Most
that.
definitely. So yeah, my mom was an addict for 22 years of her life and 12 years of mine. I didn't really know my dad until around 12, 13. And then my stepdad was an alcoholic. So I was definitely more prone to a lot of situations and environments that kids shouldn't have to be a part of or experience at such a young age. But at the same time, like, I'm grateful for it because like I said, our past makes us who we are, and I took the lessons that needed to be learned out of that instead of just falling into that same road and category. I was like, well, that's not going to be me, like I won't let that happen with my
That's true.
kids. Like I would never let my kids go through that.
And that's important. I mean, when you see it, there's two ways that you can move from it. When
Exactly.
you see it, you can either join it and entertain it and become it, or you can
Hmm.
see it and say, I don't ever want to be that, and learn from it and move away from it. And
And that's my
when
whole
you
thing
see
about the
these,
victim mindset. You can let it define you, or you can use it to define your future. You can use it to better yourself and learn from it, or you can just accept and just say, this is my environment, this is my upbringing. But to be honest, I feel like you're just doing yourself wrong when you do that. Like, you don't have to let your environment or your family impact who you want to be or become.
absolutely, absolutely, and I agree with that completely and wholeheartedly. Um, I know that you've also seen your share of violence in the aspect of things, and tell us a little bit about surviving gun violence.
Um, it's definitely hard. I was about 21 when I was a victim of gun violence, and I started my first business when I was 20. I was doing really good, had my own like retail store and clothing line and merch and all that stuff. So like I spent a good time, building up my following and my business and stuff. Well, when was a victim of gun violence, it just really set me back mentally and physically. I lost everything, all the traction that I put into it, my place, my car, just yeah, I just felt at a loss. Like it doesn't matter, who you are, how good you do, or what you do. You could be a victim to wrong anywhere, whether it be gun violence or just anything that can set you back. It's just like, man, but I've learned from it. It's definitely a process. I spent a whole year physically recovering, and I'm still mentally recovering 3 years later. It's hard, you don't want to, put yourself in that position again. But that's definitely where I had my realization and really felt like God gave me a second chance at life because I'm not the best. We've all been through our stuff, but I was in the wrong environment around the wrong people. And like when I got out of the hospital, I had a choice to make. I could either go back into that same environment around them same people and expect a different outcome, or I can grow up and tell myself like I'm better than this. I deserve more than this, and I'm never gonna let that happen again. So luckily, I made the right decision, and I've just been growing from there.
So, just to explain a little bit about things, you were shot, correct?
Yes.
And it wasn't just randomly, it was known um,
Well,
person.
it was wrong place, wrong time kind of thing, but it was still my fault. I was in an environment I shouldn't have been in. I was around people I shouldn't have been around. So I can only blame myself for it. But yeah, I was shot in the lower left abdomen. I needed emergency surgery. I needed two transfusions because of how much blood I lost. I lost the feeling in my left leg and was told it'd be possible I'd never walk. I would never walk again. So it was really just very mentally draining and discouraging. But through helping my family and motivating myself, I'm back on my feet. I'm back on my own. I got two jobs that I really enjoy doing, and I'm just trying to better myself and better my future.
And you kind of touched on it a little bit, but it is Easter Sunday, and one thing I want to know is what role has God played in your life? I know after hearing what you had to say, you said that you found belief in that, and just expand on that a little bit for me.
For sure. I really am just grateful to have a second chance. I know a lot of people just don't think everything happens for a reason, but I truly believe everything happens for a reason, and it's whether you learn from that and change, that's up to you. So I definitely feel like God, I wouldn't be here without him. I literally fought for my life that night, and I'm lucky to still be alive, healthy, and trying to do better and be better. And I just owe that all to God because he really tested me and challenged me and made me realize like what I want out of myself and out of life itself. And so he gave me a second chance, and luckily I chose right.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. I know in a lot of instances out there, people throw blame, but you're taking responsibility and you're taking accountability for yourself, and that's a huge step. And
Most definitely.
we're given trials. We're given trials and tribulations in life that make us stronger and push us towards what we're meant to do. We oftentimes will find ourselves in the dark and not knowing how to proceed forward, but there'll always be that light as I've loved to call it, is that shine. And even just the faintest of light can be seen in the darkest of nights. So that is one of the reasons why we're here and pushing forward. I know that you also are very talented and very creative, and you designed something of a mutual friend, the Reigning Resilient Queens logo. Tell us about that.
Oh yeah, so I actually met Genesis at the hotel I work at, and we became really close pretty fast. I really love what they're doing, their message about, uplifting women and men who've been through traumatic situations and stuff. And so when I told her my story, it was just like, God at the same time. It was like we were meant to cross paths and we were meant to work together. And I'm very grateful for her and appreciative of her. So for my business, I did all my own graphic designing, um, logos, creating all my merch and stuff. And so when she made me aware that that's where she was at and she was trying to find, outsource it, I just was like, well, I can do it. And so we played off a couple ideas and talked to her team and stuff, and finally worked something out and made them something that they all like. And I'm glad that they like it because I thought it was perfect for them.
And it's putting something out there, something new, something that,
For sure.
you know, going back to everything you've experienced, everything you've gone through, everything that you've seen has led you up to this moment. And that logo is beautiful. It really is.
Thank you.
Everything that the Reigning Resilient Queens represent, everything that they're trying to do, and everything that they are accomplishing, you're now part of that. And it's fantastic to hear about. It's fantastic to see. The issue with everything right now is that I don't know if, um, how do I say this? Influence. Growing up, you had influences over yourself. You had influences from teachers, uh, from your mom, from outside situations. You were influential by so many things. But positive or negative, who's been the most influential person in your life?
Most definitely, you can get influence from anywhere, from anyone, whether you
Mhm.
realize it or not, subconsciously, you're always looking up to somebody in some sort of way. And you're learning, especially when you're young, you absorb a lot that you don't really realize at the
Mhm.
time. But for me, I would definitely say my grandparents, my grandma and my grandpa have always been positive role models in our life because we didn't have those growing up. I always had role models of how not to be. So my grandma and my grandpa were literally, I don't know where we would be without them. They always pushed us to do the best we could, to be the best we could, to cultivate our talents, what we enjoyed doing, and just push us past our limits. And like, they mean the world to me. I love them wholeheartedly to death, and I don't know where I'd be without them because I am who I am today because of them.
It's amazing what previous generations have on effect on all of us. Their influence, different times, their and just different way of thinking and being. How powerful that could be.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm super happy to have you on here, buddy.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Like, I love what you guys are doing, and I'm happy to be a part of it for sure.
To my understanding, this is your first podcast. Am I correct?
It is. It is. Um, I've always wanted to get into some kind of motivational speaking and, spreading my story and, hopefully inspiring and, showing others like I'm living proof that if you don't love or like the way your life is going or where you're at or your environment, it's up to you to change that because you're the author of your story. I literally woke up and I used to just hate life and be mad at everything and everyone for no reason. And I just had an epiphany, like, I'm tired of feeling this way, like, and nothing's going to change unless I change it. So I've worked so hard to get out of that mindset and get out of that environment. And I can honestly say I'm proud of how far I've came and the doors that have opened up because of that choice that I made. So I'm very grateful for being here. And I really do love the chance to spread my story because it is, you know, very impactful and it's serious. And a lot of people don't realize, everybody thinks they have problems and stuff, but doesn't know what other people are going through. And it's like, you got to take a step in other people's shoes to see how really hard you have it. Cause some people, I just feel like they don't have it that hard, but they have that victim mindset of boo-hoo, woe is me. I'm like, man, like, you could be in their shoes and not even take a step if that's the case. But I want everybody to, shine. I want everybody to be the best them they can possibly be. So that's why I've always wanted to share my story and hopefully people can learn from it.
I love that you use the word epiphany. In every creative aspect, in every author and artist's life, there is the epiphany of things.
For sure.
It's that moment where you just realize that it's all right, it's all correct, and it's in that moment where it's as close to being perfect as you possibly can. And we go through the struggles, we go through the darkness, we go through depression, we go through mental health, we
Exactly.
go through trauma, and it's that moment. And a lot of times it is just a single moment that leads up to aha, for me personally, like when I held my book for the first time in my hand, it was that moment right there where everything I went through, everything I struggled with, everything that culminated from the previous years led up to that moment. And
Exactly.
you saying you want to be a motivational speaker, I agree with that. I think that you need to share more of your message out there. I think you need to enlighten people into what you've been through, what you've seen, what you've heard, and overcome. I mean, here you are, you're overcoming things, you're shining, you're becoming better on things, and it's brilliant to see. What would you like to motivate people to do?
Just to get out of that victim mindset, it's like life is already hard enough as it is. Why would you make it harder on yourself? If, I was severely depressed, I was, always to myself and didn't really live or enjoy life to the aspect that people talk about or that I wanted to. So it's just like you're your worst enemy, Once you learn how to, work like control your thoughts and realize that that isn't you, that's just your mind, your subconscious trying to keep you comfortable. But comfortability killed the cat, like, well, curiosity killed the cat, but comfortability keeps
Yes.
you in this zone. Yeah, comfortability keeps you in this zone where you in this bubble where you can't grow or learn from, and you have to be uncomfortable to grow and to learn. So I want everybody to, learn that, you're your author of your story. If you don't like where you are or who you are, you can always change it no matter what or where you are in life.
Yeah, it's so
Absolutely.
much easier to just keep doing what you're doing than it is to change something. So I really admire your goals, and I admire what you've been able to accomplish, and I am thrilled that you have a relationship with God now, because that's the thing that will keep you on track, because it's so easy to fall off. You can make a change, but sometimes it's really difficult to stay on that path, unless you've got, kind of a guiding light, sort of a ruler, I mean that in the way of a measuring stick, or someone pointing your path ahead of you. light, shining a light on your path.
Yeah, for
Exactly.
sure.
Yeah, like
For sure.
shining. Yeah, yeah, that is just really a um important way to live.
Most
Speaking of
definitely.
inspirational, speaking of inspirational people, you have a fan. Genesis is watching right now. She's definitely grateful for crossing paths, the logo, and excited for what's to come for us together. And see where he goes all well as well. I'm having difficulty talking right now,
Thank
getting that up, but it's on the screen for everybody to read, I
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can
I
read
see.
it. It's okay.
Definitely cool. Thank you, Genesis. I'm very excited to be working with you and can't wait to see where we go in the future. Um, we have some work to do, but best believe we're going to get there.
and you have a new fan,
Catherine.
Catherine, something she's struggling with personally. She's thankful that you're sharing your story and very inspirational. So thank you, Catherine, for watching. Definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, glad to have you, Catherine. I'm sorry to hear that's something you're struggling with, but like I said, I hope I can, inspire you to do whatever it is you need to do to change that. And it's my pleasure, for real. Like, I want people to be able to learn and grow from what I've experienced in life and what other people are going through in life. It's hard, but you just got to stay focused and determined. And I swear, it's just one day at a time. And progress is key. You do one thing. I mean, you do the same thing every day. You're going to be 365 times better at the end of the year.
And that's what it is. It's progress. It's moving forward.
Yeah, just
It's
one step at a time.
not exactly just
Mhm.
that one step. Um, During depression, one of the hardest things was just getting out of bed and doing
Yep.
something, whether it was just cleaning the kitchen or going to the store or making a meal. But too many people find that insignificant, but it really is an accomplishment. And just getting that past the next step and moving forward and seeing
Well, those
positivity in
little things,
everything.
they're the most important. If you those little things are the most important. If you can't do the little things, how are you going to get through the big ones? And I learned that the hard way. I used to do the same thing. I used to stay in bed all day and I knew I had stuff I needed to do, but didn't have the motivation or strength to do because I was just tired of everything. I was like, there's no point. But then I started kicking my own butt. I was like, no, get up, do it. It needs done. And your environment's a reflection of your mind. If you have a cluttered house, you have a cluttered mind. So definitely, little things are important just as much as the big things.
And we're talking about change, and change hurts. Anybody out there who's going through change, it hurts, but it's supposed to hurt. Change is supposed to make you uncomfortable. It's supposed to make you almost crumble into bits because it's taking what's normal and making it completely different. What was it for you that made you change your life?
For me, to be honest, I think it was just knowing that I was better and more talented than I gave myself credit, and the lifestyle and the path that I was going down really disappointed my grandparents, and I don't want to do anything but make my grandparents proud. So when I realized how much hurt and pain that I've caused them, and then almost losing my life, like, I just realized uh, God gave me a second chance and I'm not going to waste it. This is my time to do it right and be the best version of myself I can be.
And a lot of times, change is necessary. Sometimes it's wanted. Sometimes it's, unforeseen. But it's how we deal with it, how we grow. And when you change, I always like to see, like I say, is that you're forging your armor in to the hottest depths. You
Hmm.
forge your armor into the hottest depths to become the strongest. So as you're changing, as you're becoming, as you're doing that, and when you're forging your armor, that's your shine right there. That's your light reaching out to the world and just changing.
I like that.
You can't change. Thank you. The other metaphor I really love is the how does the ant eat the elephant? One bite at a time. It's a process. It
Yeah,
takes time. It takes
for sure.
consistency, but one bite at a time, and an ant will eat the elephant. So,
I
just
tell a
out
lot
of
of people.
curiosity,
I
yeah,
tell a
tell a
lot of
lot of people
people
what.
change is scary. A lot of people are scared of change, but change, like
Hmm,
you said, is necessary sometimes, and it's often the most powerful thing someone can do. You know, so don't be scared of it. Embrace it.
And the other aspect of it too is that people change and they want the recognition for it. Uh, Oftentimes, you won't find that. You won't find the recognition because
I
when
feel
you're
like you have to keep that to
changing,
yourself
oh, absolutely. But
for
what I've
sure.
come to find out, just personally for me, is that I wouldn't receive that recognition because of who I had myself surrounded by. So when you're changing, you're also changing your environment. You're changing the people who will surround you. You're finding new people, and finding those people, those connections is what actually starts to get you to get that recognition. And when you look back, you go, wow, I was there a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and you start to see this huge developmental change. But in the moment, you never actually see it or feel it.
Exactly. Change doesn't happen overnight, but after every taking it day by day, I look back and I can't honestly believe like how far I've came and how much I've changed, and I'm very proud of myself. And I tell everyone that it's not sudden, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a day to day. You got to keep pushing for it and keep working towards it, but eventually you're going to get to a point to where you look back and you realize how far you came, and you're going to be astounded by your progress and very grateful that you made that choice to do that.
Absolutely. And you also have to have faith that it's going to be okay, belief that you're going to be better, that what you're doing is meant to get you into further into your journey because you don't want to
Exactly.
just stay in that moment. So, speaking of future developments, I've always heard, we're always talking about things behind the scenes on things, but
Mhm.
where do you see yourself in the next year?
Um, I see myself doing a lot. I'm not the kind of guy. I don't like to, just do one thing. I like to, do, expand my horizons. I don't want to, put all my eggs in one basket, as they say. But one thing I'm really looking forward to is working with Genesis and the reigning resilient queens, and we're going to move to the kings version. So I'm pretty sure in the next year that's what we're going to be focused on, just expanding our audience, our members, and our message, and that's one thing I'm excited about because their message, it just really resonates with me, trying to empower people who've been through situations like I have, traumatic situations and how they overcame it. And, it's just a inspiration and necessary, people who have been through stuff like this, similar, not similar. Everyone has their own hardships or traumas or whatever. They need to share that because one, it helps you internally, and two, it helps other people learn from that and, accept theirs and move on like you did. So that's the main thing I'm looking forward to.
One of the criticisms of Facebook is that people tend to kind of glorify their life. They try to make it look better than it is. You know, they
Yeah,
don't let anybody see the bad side of their life. And I've seen now a good change in, it seems like, in Facebook, to where there are people that are willing, like you, to step out and say, hey, you know, I was really a mess, and I, you know, wasn't a good person, and I, you know, did things I shouldn't have done. And now I'm trying to do better, and I'm, you know, letting God lead me in the direction He wants me to go, so I can become the person that He had intended me to become. And, you know, that's huge. I think that more people on Facebook would really benefit from letting their warts show, so to speak. You know, letting other people see what they've gone through, see who they are, see that they're not perfect, see that they have faults. You know, and it would just make a huge difference, I think, in the whole climate of social media, for people to stop trying to be something special and
for
just
sure.
be honest and vulnerable and transparent.
For sure. I completely wholeheartedly believe in that myself. I'm not really big on social media, but I do know the impact that it does have on a lot of people. So I try to, grow on there. But for the most part, everybody's glorifying, this perfect life, this fantasy that they're living. But nobody, like you said, you can't have the good without the bad. In order to have good, you have to go through bad. And it's like, more people need to share their bad and let it resonate and inspire others, because it's just chaos nowadays. Everybody's glorifying making a bunch of money, living on an island, or
Mhm,
spending on luxury cars and clothes and stuff, but that's not like
mhm.
meaningful in any way. It's just what they feel they need to do.
What I think is that people are yearning for real right now.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah,
social media has tended to lean people towards bold, big, and exciting. And if
exactly.
you're not out here like this, then you're not a cool person, or you haven't succeeded. And I
Yeah,
think so many times right now, people are so lost. They just don't realize or understand that here right now, what you're doing, what you're saying, what you're influencing, what you're showing is real. Um, Too many times
exactly.
you get caught up in the fakeness of everything, and people are just yearning for that to come back. Just show me your vulnerability, show me your ability to just overcome minor tragedy. You know, get that out there. Be a real person. And it is exciting to hear about people's accomplishments, but
Yeah,
when you also get to see them through that struggle, when you also get to see them through those instances where maybe they fall back, maybe they get a little bit depressed, maybe it didn't work out quite the way they wanted it to or had it planned. But they kept moving forward and they kept pursuing and they kept going at it. Those are the stories that we like to hear now, and those are the stories that
exactly.
change little differences throughout the world.
For sure. I think that makes the story even more heartfelt, more inspiring, to learn the struggles that you went through to get to that accomplishment.
Oh, absolutely. It, when you can empathize with somebody, when you can actually feel those remorses, those regrets, those failures, when you can actually see this is a human, this is a person, this is look at Genesis, you were all over it today. They're my favorite too. And and thank you for watching, by the way, Genesis. Genesis referred Scott here over to me, and Susan, and wanted to get him and his story out there. I apologize if we let the cat out of the bag with the rating resilient kings. I know we've talked about things, and I know that it's something that we want to pursue forward on, and it's an exciting time on things, and I can't wait to hear how much more you're involved in that, Scott. And it's an amazing venture, and I really look forward to it.
I will actually be running the Reigning Resilient Kings. So
Nice.
that's something I'm really looking forward to. We are actually looking
That's
for,
fantastic.
yep. I'm very excited and I'm very, just grateful to have this opportunity being a part of something with so much meaningful message behind it. Like this is what I live for. I want to spread the knowledge and uplift other people who've been through traumatic
Mhm,
situations or hardships. And that's the other thing about social media. Like I feel like it's got everybody in some sort of competition and everybody's fighting for who's living better or who's got better. No, like we need to be coming together and helping each other out and uplifting each other instead of bringing each other down over designer clothes and flashy cars and how
mhm,
much money you make. Like it's not that meaningful. Like it's just nothing to me. I don't know. I'm
mhm,
different. Everybody else is just caught up in this wave of
mhm.
competition. I'm like, bro, why would we compete when we can work together?
I agree with you.
I agree with you there.
Of course, she's here. It's her first podcast, and she's your biggest fan before you start. So when you become big and everything like that, we knew you win.
Mhm,
And
I love you too,
Catherine's here.
Genesis. Thank you. Yeah, Catherine just made a good point.
mhm,
Agreed, Catherine. There's too many instances out there in social media where we feel less or insignificant or not as polished. And
mhm,
when you start to actually look at it, and the people who are posting these, they're only posting the best things about
mhm,
themselves. They'd never post the hardships. They never post the difficulties. They never post the anything that would make you feel less about them. And it seems like a perfect lifestyle, but when it all boils down to it, it's not.
mhm.
It's fake.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, and I really am very happy when I meet young people like you, Scott, because uh, you know, I have seen, I'm old, so I can make observations about life. But I've
You're
seen,
only as old as you
uh,
feel.
yeah, that's true. I do feel about 17 most of the time. So,
Now is
but
that mentally or physically?
but that's mentally, but my brain, still remembers a whole bunch of stuff. And I am
Right.
very pleased to see young people like you um, finding the important things in life, discovering what's really important instead of what worries me so much about your generation is that so many of them get caught up in like wanting to be an influencer, for example. I mean,
Yeah.
that's such a very shallow life. It just is, you're not contributing from what I understand. I'm not even on TikTok. I'm too old for TikTok, I guess. I just, I, I just, you see a lot of that kind of thing. You see what's going on, and I'm just really proud of you for being a an example to your generation and the kind of person that other young people should look up to and admire and follow.
I greatly
Catherine,
appreciate that. Yeah. I completely understand what you mean, and I don't understand it myself for the most part. I mean, being an influencer is one thing, depending on like what kind of influencer, like doing this, spreading good positive message,
Hmm.
hardships and stuff. I love it. I'm all about it. But their version of influencer is like, oh, watch me do something dumb for an hour and get me views. I'm like,
Right.
it's
Exactly.
it,
And
it
then they
baffles me. Like,
count what's important to them. Yeah, in number of views, number of people that watch them do something stupid.
yeah, all
I,
about the
I mean,
viewers.
it's like, where is your goal? What is that what you want to do for the rest of your life? How does that
And
benefit
the sad thing
society?
is,
How do you
a
grow
lot of
from
them don't.
that?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not really contributing to society or really even helping anybody. You're just
right.
trying to get views over stupid subjects and
It's
videos, and it's just like, I
uh-huh.
don't know. To me, I think you should
Vanity.
want better for yourself. Do something that
Hmm.
actually matters, and that takes talent. Anybody can get on a camera and do stupid stuff and get views from it.
Hmm.
But with
Yes.
Yeah.
Catherine, I definitely wanted to comment on that. So personally, from being a victim of gun violence, I suffer from severe PTSD. So definitely, I can understand what you mean when you say when you deal with trauma, it gives the feeling that you cannot keep up with the rest of the world. I spent a year physically and mentally recovering, and because of my PTSD, I wasn't living life. Even after I got better physically, mentally, was just shut in to myself. I didn't trust anything, anyone, and I just feel like social media also plays in that aspect, because now it's so easy to, get on social media and like meet the wrong people, do the wrong things or whatever.
Hmm.
But I literally realized like if I'm going anywhere, doing anything, I'm always looking over my shoulder. Or if my friends are trying to get me to come out, I'm always second questioning it. Like, no, I don't want nothing to happen. And it's just like, that isn't the way to live. But also, if that's something that you're worried about, speaking to myself, which I realized I had to change my environment, change my people I surround myself with, because no one should have to live a life like that. And then social media was very intimidating to me because I just feel like it's so easy for someone to find somebody if they wanted to. And trying to keep up with everything going on social media, it's just very
Hmm.
intimidating. And like, yeah, you don't feel good enough or whatever the case. It's just, I don't know. To me, it's a rat race. It's literally like
Hmm.
either way you go, it doesn't matter. It's still the same outcome.
Yeah, it's like a hamster wheel. You're on a hamster wheel.
Exactly.
W- Yeah, you get off the same place that you got on.
Well, the other aspect of it is that there's too many times where social media people are looking for attention. And you can get
Hmm.
attention from anywhere. Um, Negative and positive attention, no matter what you post, you can find it out there. Um,
Most
it's
definitely.
getting the attention that you want though. It's not getting that attention that's just to have all eyes on me. It's to get that attention of these are my people. Like for instance with Genesis. Genesis is such a magical person that just is connects so many people and so many people doing so many amazing things.
For
Um,
sure.
just meeting her, having where it's come from, where things are spanning out to, and who she's brought in, and who we've talked about, and who we've talked to, and there's just this network that just keeps expanding out and touching more people and influencing more people and showing that shine. And as we could see, the one light from each one of us when it all gets together, as I described it, everything is starts with a spark.
For
That
sure.
spark can turn into a flame. That flame can turn into a fire, and then that fire can turn into this raging forest fire. And surrounding yourself with the right people is just absolutely what it takes it.
Exactly. Exactly. And yeah, that's a great example with how she uses social media and connects with, genuine people and trying to share inspirational stories and stuff. Most I don't know, I just feel like that's how everything works, You could use it for good, you can use it for bad, or just whatever. But social media can definitely be a tool to your advantage if you use it like one, and definitely who you surround yourself with. My grandma always told me, like that's very important. If you're around five low lifes, you're going to be the sixth. If you're
Fact.
around five businessmen and women, you're going to be the sixth. Whether you realize it or not, you not only you exchange frequencies with everybody, but you also absorb their behaviors, so to say. So
Right.
that's one thing I had to realize. Like I was hanging around the wrong people, and I was becoming someone I didn't want to be. So I had to change that.
Thank you, Genesis. I appreciate you too. You've inspired me in so many ways. You saw me when I was at my worst, and where we've come from in the years, growing and seeing and affecting and just influencing everything. It's been amazing, and seeing where you are going to and seeing everything that you've influenced and everything you've touched. It's just fantastic to see. I appreciate you and everything on that as well, Genesis. Thank you. Um, she did give us permission, by the way, Scott. She said we could talk about rating Resilient King. So we've got like 7 minutes left. Lay it on me, brother.
For sure.
Tell me more about it.
So with reigning resilient kings and queens, we're just all about, finding people with the message, finding people with the story, and that are willing and wanting to share that story, and become a positive influence in life and other people's lives and stuff. So right now we're looking at expanding the kings division, which I will be in control of. So men and women who have experienced traumatic situations, hardships, whatever the case may be. We want to hear from you. We want to know where you're going in life, how you overcame them, and we want to help you spread your message and help you get to where you want to be. So if that's something that you're interested, definitely contact either Genesis or I, and we'll definitely make it happen.
Where do you want to see it go to? Do you want to?
Uh-oh.
You disappeared.
I think we lost him. He disappeared.
We lost him.
Yeah, he'll be right
But you
back.
can
But
contact us on Facebook. It'll be
there
Genesis
he is.
Gomez on Facebook and Scott King Craig on Facebook.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Technical difficulties. We'll call it that.
But yeah, you
We're
can
happy to
definitely
have you
we,
contact
back.
Genesis
we,
or me on Facebook.
we we had technical difficulties last week, so I
It happens.
I accidentally pushed the button. It was my bad.
Yeah.
Yes, and Catherine, Genesis also said for you to reach out to her. I very highly recommend that. Genesis has an amazing way to help you in so many instances and show
Most
you how
definitely.
to, you know, use your trauma for good and how to influence more people and how to use it as a force to better yourself and forge your armor. So definitely reach out to her and talk to her. You're welcome. Thank you for watching on the show on here. I, Scott, you have been fantastic, buddy. Um,
Thank you. I was very nervous, but
well, wait.
I'm glad I
Look at
glad
that.
I
See,
joined.
amazing. Before we go, however, you've overcome so much. And looking back, a lot of us will resonate on our past, but We also do have a lot of younger viewers that watch, and I'm a children's book author, and Susan's a children's book publisher. So, what advice would you? Oh, wrong question. My bad. What
There
advice
you
would you
go.
give to your younger self?
Ooh, that's a difficult one. I'd give myself a lot of advice, but definitely the most powerful one that I was always told growing up: no matter what you want to do in life, you can do it. You really can. You just have to work hard and stay focused. Don't get caught up in what everybody else is doing and what's big and social media and whatnot. Do what makes you happy and live your life how you want to live your life.
I like that. And look at that. We're bringing together more and more people. Catherine's at the beginning ish of changing her life, which has been fantastic to see. Very proud of her and starting to realize that. And of course, Genesis mentions we all start somewhere. We get there faster with mentors, coaches, and community. And I completely agree with that. We cannot go through this life alone. We cannot go through this life without
You
people
can.
who
It
have
just,
been there.
just sucks.
No, we can't. We cannot. We need to have coaches and mentors and trainers,
Yes,
and we need
definitely.
to have people that have been there and have overcome it. And it may not be exactly your journey, but they're going to help you
Yeah.
in this world. If you can get up to the next level, look behind you and see who's struggling. Reach down, help them get to the next level. Because when you get up to the next level together and you start bringing other people up to the next level and we start raising ourselves up higher and higher and influencing more and more people and just taking that shine and sending it out there, then our world starts to become better. And then we start to influence more people around us, and that starts to grow, and that starts to grow. And that's what I was talking about. That spark turns into a flame that can get all the way up to that raging inferno. And that's where we're going with. It's been amazing having you on here, buddy.
Thank you. I
Oh,
enjoy it.
looks like one more comment. Oh, Genesis, I appreciate you so much, buddy. I just absolutely love and adore you, and can't wait to see what you got going on in the future here. And it's just absolutely fantastic. I appreciate that. But Scott, is there anything that you want to bring up before we end our podcast today?
Just like I said before, you're the author of your story. It's up to you to make that decision to change your life, your environment, or be a better version of yourself. So make that choice. Change is scary, but sometimes it's necessary.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you for coming on with us, especially on this Easter Sunday, to share your story with us, to show us your redemption, your resurrection, overcoming everything, and just being an influence and power of positivity for the future and what's to come. Thank you so much for everything. And, I can't wait to hear more about the Reigning Resilient Kings and what you've got going. And hopefully we can all be a part of it and move forward with that.
Most
Um,
definitely. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me, and I definitely look forward to working together here again soon.
Definitely. So, as for your first podcast, how do you feel now? You feel feel good? You feel like a more professional now in it?
A little bit. I would say my nerves have eased a bit, but it's definitely a door that opens a lot more other doors, and it's something that I'm very interested in doing. So I really do appreciate this opportunity, and grateful for you helping me share my story. So it means a lot.
So we should have you back
You're
again,
very welcome.
and then we can talk some more about how far you've gotten in the next, few months. and see how the Reigning Resilient Kings are taking off and other things going on in your life.
I would love that for sure.
Definitely,
Great.
definitely. Well, you've definitely got a fan in us, and we look forward to what you've got coming up.
And you guys got one in me. Again, thanks so much.
It's really very welcome. Well, thank you,
Yeah.
Scott, for coming on with us today. Stay in the lobby for a few moments. I'll bring you on in just a minute.
For sure.
Look at this. That was fun. Wow.
Yeah.
What an
Yeah.
awesome
I
guy.
just love to see young people who are going the right direction, who've who
I
have
do.
found meaning and purpose. I just love to see that. It's just wonderful.
I do too. It gives me hope. Hope for future and
Yep.
things are changing. I mean, unfortunately, with social media, there are far too many bad influences out there. And with people like
Hmm.
Genesis, Catherine, I hope that you reach out to Genesis. She's an amazing woman, and she will help you find your shine as well. And just everything. I mean, he had so much trauma and so many things that he had to overcome, and so many things that were just difficult. And here he is shining. So I think it was a great one to have here for Easter Sunday.
I think so too. It was great. Really good.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in this week with me, author Stephen Yerist, and author and publisher Susan Gabriel. Appreciate all the views, likes, comments, and shares. And we will see you guys next week for another episode of Shine with Curiosity and Encouragement. Have an amazing Sunday, and we'll see you guys next week.